Hello, this is Newsdesk. I am Winston Taki. Coming up in this bulletin, President Mahama must act now. Bishops Conference says Galamsey threatens Ghana's soul. More on their strongly worded statement here on Newsdesk. Also coming up, farmers ask government to act as fears of a looming maize shortage grows in the southern region.
The maize business isn't good enough. For rich farmers, they're able to keep theirs. But for us who have no storage facility, we must sell immediately.
The Ghana Private Road Transport Union and other tribal unions protest alleged takeover of land designated for lorry stations by private investors.
Job to do. So what else do you want us to go and do? What do you want us to feed our children with?
These plus some business updates on our news desk. We are independent, fearless, and credible. Stay tuned right after this. Welcome back to Newsdesk. Now to our first business story. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference is asking President John Mahama to, as a matter of urgency, declare a state of emergency in the fight against illegal mining. They warn that illegal mining menace is destroying the nation's environment, eroding its governance, and threatening the very soul of Ghana. Here are extracts from their statement, which I'm going to read now for you to understand indeed what they have been saying. And this statement was signed by the Most Reverend Matthew Kwasi Gyamfi, the Bishop of Tunyani and the President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, who really stated in that statement. We're going to project that on your screen right now. Now, according to the statement, the Ankobra, Brim, Offin, Ayensu, and other once pristine rivers are now laced with mercury and toxic effluent. To desecrate creation through Galamsey is not only an offense against neighbor, it is a grave sin against God himself, the creator and owner of all. The consequences are dire, and farmers can no longer trust the land to sustain their families, and our capacity to feed the nations diminishes. The Ghana Water Company strains at great cost to render water barely potable, yet traces of mercury, arsenic, cyanide, and chlorine persist in what is supplied. Children seduced by the mirage of quick riches forsake school for perilous fates, many losing their lives in collapses that are both tragic and preventable. Galamsey has become a cancer in our nation's soul. It corrodes politics, corrodes governance, and corrodes conscience, disturbing some politicians, members of parliament, municipal and district chief executives, chiefs, religious figures, and even members of our security services have been implicated, shielding illegal operators for personal gain, granting illicit concessions, or remaining silent when duty demands bold speech. Yet, in the face of this, the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, appears not to grasp the existential scale of the menace. He goes ahead to say that this meets the press session of the 10th September 2025. He dismissed calls for a state of emergency. This is profoundly troubling. The hour is late. Delay is betrayal. Now, not tomorrow, not later is the time to act. We therefore urge the President and his government to declare without hesitation a state of emergency in the most affected mining zones and around endangered water bodies. Now, let's engage Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Blay. He is an environmentalist and a Catholic priest as well, who is joining us right now on Zoom. Rev, it's good to have you here on Newsdesk. And also, what do you make of the recent release by the Catholic bishops with regards to the state of emergency being called for to ensure the menace of Galamsey are hugely dealt with?
Thank you very much, Winston, and thanks and greetings to all your listeners. So I think I salute and congratulate and express my personal gratitude to our bishops, the Bishops' Conference. The church, as we know, is the conscience of society. Every normal human person must have conscience. and your conscience tells you what is right. And when you are not listening to your conscience, you're held into ditch. And that is what the church is doing. Secondly, the church is also a prophet. It plays the prophetic role. Unfortunately, here in Ghana, the word prophecy has been commercialized, but the prophet points people towards the mind of God. This is what God wants us to do. If you read the prophet Jeremiah, the prophet Ezekiel, this time for us, we are even reading the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel says, tell the people that doom is going to come. If they don't listen, you are free. If you see and you don't say it, then it is your responsibility. And that is what our church is doing. That is what our bishops are doing. They are playing the role of a watchdog. The dog barks and creates awareness that something dangerous is going to come. They play the role of the prophets that, look, we are deviating, we are vying away from the path of God. Let us turn to the Lord and then avoid the destruction that is going to come to us. So the bishops' conference, the church, the whole body is the conscience of society, as I've said. It is also the prophet. It is also the watchdog. And if you read, if anybody read the bishops, what they call the communique, almost every year, they meet at their plenary and they come out with the communique. For the past 20 years, maybe even more, the bishops have been calling this attention to the environmental destruction. So the past 20 years, any communique that is going to come, it talks about the environmental degradation, talks about our rivers that we are losing. So it's like we have reached the peak. So that is what they are saying, that there's no time to delay. There's no time to delay. They have sounded the warning. They have called the attention of various governments. They have raised the awareness of church and all those role stakeholders. So the time is now.
Reverend Father, I understand your statement. Beyond just the statement released by the Catholic Bishop, what should the conference do?
Yes, so the conference has given proposal. You know, when you read a letter,
yes,
the letter is saying that we are not just saying that state of emergency, but even then there's mercy, there is also human face. Let us come out and then come out with a program to see those who are involved. What can we roll out for them? So I think if the government is going to work in collaboration with the bishop conference, the bishop can roll out, for example, something like cooperative farming. So we can come out with cooperative farming. We can liaise with some of the NGOs, some of our characters that we have outside there. If we have youth who want to enter into, let's say, rice farming, if we want to enter into vegetable farming, I think the bishop, the various dioceses can work hand in hand with MOFA, for example, to roll out something for the youth.
What role would a state of emergency play at a time like this when there is consistent push for it?
You see, the role of state of emergency, I'm not a lawyer, but from the layman's perspective that I have, anytime that we declare the state of emergency, it's like now we are at a critical point. We don't have the luxury of time to go through the normal procedure of passing through parliament, debating and this. So now, this point, we do what we ought to do now. It is like the time of COVID. We have to do this. We have to do that. So we don't pass through stages. The government says, well, we need so much amount. Let us suspend light bills. So that is what it means, that the action is so crucial. It's so dangerous that we cannot wait. So let's take immediate actions that we need. That is what the state of emergency, from my lay perspective, means.
I admire your fight because you are an environmentalist and you just don't give communion in church, but you've led the fight against Galamsey in some areas. How has it been so far, and what would you say has been one of the key predicaments, or let's say impediment to your fight?
I think one of my impediments is that, for example, recently my community, the youth themselves went and arrested 2 Nigerians right in the act. They also went in March. They went and arrested some who have invaded the forest, the southern part of the Nimri forest. These cases are in court. And I think that this law, that's why we're talking about the state of emergency, passing through the normal procedure delays. And then Ghanaians know that, well, Ejura. So even those that we have arrested, where the Nigerians are still in court, I went to my village just Wednesday. I took shots. If I knew, I could have brought you the pictures. The people are still working now. They are working in the night. because they know that our watchdogs will go and arrest them in the night. What are the police doing? Are they reinforcing them? Are they beefing up the security and arresting the people? So these are some of the impediments that we get. Our legal system, at the end, sometimes protects the criminals more than those who are fighting the criminals.
What do you make of those who hold the school of thought that denotes that these individuals or those who go into Galamsey, if that act is basically brought to an end, they will not find any subsequent employment in any other sector? You are on the field.
I 100% disagree with them. And from my dissertation, my PhD research that I did, I always cite the example of Elmina in 2010, 2014. People discovered gold. And in fact, the Ejura River was even, emptied, and then they were ready. Fortunately, the chief called the stakeholders and they came. Said, look, we are fishermen. We have things here. If we bring it here, we are going to. Once you see gold, if somebody doesn't have a vocation, a real call for his profession, even doctors will stop. Even the parliamentarian, everybody will stop. So gold, because it is gold, people will leave. So we have something to do. In my area, for example, the land is very fertile. In the Wasa area, it used to be the rice production area for Ghana. Now all the rice land are destroyed. So once you throw into the people, people will go. But if government should come, in my dissertation, I made an example like there are areas that are purely good, the Adansi area that are already destroyed. Then we have areas that are for water, for food, so that we can even have division of labor, diversity in Ghana. So areas that are mining, fine. Areas that we are producing food, that we are producing cocoa. Recently, probably you have seen the video where somebody is cutting a cocoa that has borne fruit from the root to the leaves and cutting it for Galamsey. So once you throw it in, you are going to lose. Recently, I don't know if yesterday we listened to Bismarck talking about people who have lost their livelihood, 960 families, about 518 acres farmland, that's for Asante region alone, not to mention Western region, not to mention other Eastern region. So I think we are at the verge of disaster. And if I should quickly just bring one quotation from Laudato Si, Pope Francis says, once certain resources have been depleted, the scene will be set for new wars. And I think that is what Ghana is doing. We are preparing the recipe for civil wars, for community wars. Yeah, it's not a good thing to say, but a prophet can see ahead. And that is what we are preparing.
Indeed,
yeah, we should not wait for the disaster.
Warnings before these prophecies manifest, what lessons must we learn now before it becomes too late for us?
The lesson that act now, that the bishops are saying that act now, delay is betrayal. I think this should be a slogan. The bishops are saying delay is betrayal. And if you know Ghanaians, we are having the character or the habit that unless something big has happened and has happened to a big man, there is nothing dangerous. So we are not proactive. We are always reactive. Let the road have a bridge that is broken. Let there be an accident, excuse me to say, involving the minister. Immediately the bridge will be constructed. But until then, look on our roads. We have a lot of ramps without any signposts, without any painting. But one day, let a big man have accident there. So it's now. It's now. Delay is betrayal. For me, I think that should be the slogan. Delay is betrayal.
Finally, before I chip in this, I want to understand from you, how serious is this threat of poison in our water bodies and also its subsequent impact, because as an environmentalist, on just our food product that gets back to us in the market?
Very, very, very serious. I have pictures and I have scientific proof of fishes that are full of salt from the Elembele area, River Ebi. I have them here, I can produce. Just last Wednesday, I stepped down at the Ankobra estuary. And that was the first time. Normally, I just cross the bridge. And if you look deep into the sea, you can see about 5 nautical miles, all red. And the bishop didn't finish all. They talked about Ankobra, Offin, but talk about Pra, talk about Bia. I've been to Tano, I've been to Bia. Talk about Ankobra, talk about Boy. All these rivers, there's no livelihood. So the scientific research says that fishes absorb more of mercury than any other being. And I think recently somebody came out that the cassava, you just cut it open, is black. Some of the researches that I made, tuber food from Takwa and Soyem and those areas, they are all concentrated with mercury. So we are eating food that are not good for human consumption. And I think the effect is already shown. The doctors are telling us kidney problems have increased, mental problems have increased, the children are being formed with malformation. So it's until when? It's like, sometimes I feel like as a nation, are we signing our death warrant and say, well, let's all wait to die? But I don't think that is what human beings should do.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Blay, and he's an environmentalist and a Catholic priest who is giving us indeed a well-researched understanding of the implications should we not go to the state or go on the path of state of emergency concerning our water bodies. And the Catholic bishops raise very key concerns, especially on key rivers that have been polluted because of activities of illegal mining. Now, moving on, let me take you to Ejura, where the bags of maize are rotting away as farmers struggle to find buyers. Weeks without rain have worsened the situation, leaving farmlands parched and forcing many producers to consider abandoning cultivation for the next season. Emmanuel Bright Kweku visited the community where farmers are demanding urgent, pragmatic solutions to the crisis and filed this report.
It's Monday morning at Ejura, one of Ghana's largest trading hubs for cereals and grains. From groundnut and beans to rice and maize, the market supplies thousands of households across Ghana and beyond. But in recent times, maize has seen a sharp decline in sales.
The fresh maize sells at 500 cedis, and the old ones go for 450.
These new prices, coupled with a reclining market sale, are presenting challenges to the maize value chain. The farmers and traders are not enthused as they are seen all over haggling the new prices. Farming is a lifeline of Ejura and its surrounding communities. On a scorching afternoon, Idrisu Mumuni and his family are busy drying freshly harvested maize. They spread the grains across a tarpaulin, relying on sun and air to reduce the moisture content. With no storage facilities, the family must rush to package and sell the maize on the next market day. But for Idrisu, the returns hardly match the effort he invests in production.
The maize business isn't good enough. For rich farmers, they're able to keep theirs. But for us who have no storage facility, we must sell immediately.
After the 2024 dry spell, the price of maize has fallen by more than half, from 1,200 cedis to just 400 cedis on the market. Yet, with production costs soaring, the sharp decline has left many farmers frustrated and delusioned. Ghana experiences a glut of maize during the main crop season from June to September. But despite the bustle and noise of the crowded Ejura market, traders say business has been slow and their pockets tell the story.
It looks as if stealing is better than farming. Every time they are talking about cocoa, they would neglect us. Our work is more hectic than the cocoa farmers.
Frustration on the market is preempting the farmers from producing more. While some have opted to hoard the maize at home, others are compelled to leave the heaps of their maize harvest on their farms at the mercy of the weather. Salifu Al-Samin farms on this 40-acre maize plantation.
The ones we sent home, we've not been able to sell it. So there's no reason going to add this one.
I can see they are even rotting away.
Yes, of course. We've covered it because we anticipate there might be rain.
Former Member of Parliament for Ejura, Mohammed Isifu Pangabu, is one of the lead farmers in the community.
No farmer can break even with 400. No farmer.
This year, lots of farmers will lose their...
All farmers are losing. Our operators are lost. So if you don't take time to address it, and we'll lose this year. Next year, the farmers will reduce.
As the traders endure the slow market, a pressing concern emerges: delayed rains.
For the past 2 weeks, we have not experienced any major rain.
This is felt on the fields where the soils are drying up already before farmers can plant for the next season.
So we explored this further with Ejura Manye, farmer and agribusiness analyst, and we'll also be speaking with the Executive Director for Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Bismarck Norte. But let's begin with Bismarck, who has joined us live on Zoom. Bismarck, it's good to have you here on the News Desk. You know, we understand that we've been battling with high food prices. Consistently, we've seen inflation, with food inflation being one of the key drivers consistently. With food being rotten in Ejura, is it a clear sign that our supply chain structure has broken down amidst the threat of food insecurity facing us now?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and let me say a good morning to viewers. I think that is quite a very mixed and difficult situation. I say mixed because we know on one hand, the government is working hard to ensure that there is low prices of food so that consumers use them. On the other hand, too, you also want a situation where the low price of food should not lead to a farmer's loss of income. So how do we balance the two to ensure that, yes, there's low prices, but it is not at the extent of the smallholder farmer? And I think that that's a situation where we need to find solution to it. If you look at the current drop in prices, saw that your documentary was focused on maize, but this goes beyond maize. Across the country, we have farmers who are into the production of cowpea, tomatoes, onion, rice, where the prices has dropped significantly. In fact, the scary thing about it is that the current market prices are unable to even make the farmer break even. And that's the danger of the situation now. The problem for the average smallholder farmer is that because he or she do not have the capacity to store this food in anticipation to sell them later, he or she is compelled to sell them now. And for fear of suffering additional losses because of post-harvest, he is now compelled to sell them at very low prices. In fact, as of now, there are some areas that a bag of maize is going for as low as 200 Ghana cedis. And this is the middlemen and market people who are doing that. So it's a very difficult and depressing situation for farmers. And I think that we need to have a clear direction, a clear structure, a clear mechanism for products like, for produce like cereals, maize, rice, and all those cereals. That is where we know that NAFCO should be coming in and doing the mop-up very well.
I want to understand from you.
But I think
it's interesting to note that Ejura is a very thrivable marketplace for maize and is one of the key regions that supply hugely across the country. Why is it that it's been quite difficult to mobilize private sector players to set up warehouses, processing plant close to that region? What are some of the factors that you think is discouraging that particular approach?
I think there are a lot of factors accounting for it. You know, one of the key industry players that deals a lot with maize will be the poultry farmers, for instance. And you would have expected that poultry farmers should be able to hop onto the situation and then mop up the maize in the system. Now, the situation is that even the poultry farmers themselves, they have their own liquidity challenges. So they are unable to mobilize the resources to purchase the maize at prices that are competitive for the smallholder farmer. So the farmer is now looking at avenues where he or she can sell the maize to a buyer who can buy for him to be able to recover his cost and make profit. So that gap has still not been filled. Over the past, we've had instances where, because the borders were a bit opened, you have persons coming in from neighboring countries into the country to purchase the maize. And these people, they come with very good money. So the farmers sometimes prefer to sell to these people because they can now recover their costs, make profit, as against the local people who are not able to do that. So the reason why sometimes we try to disagree when government issues a blanket ban is that you need to find a mechanism to agree on a price that's very competitive for the farmer, so that when you issue the ban, the farmer knows that inwardly, I can still sell the maize and make profits. But if you're not able to do that, then what you are doing is that you are creating a system where you are restricting people from coming into buy, but locally, you've not created any mechanism to ensure that the farmer is not shortchanged. And I think that is where the gap is, and we need to find a way to fill that particular gap.
Okay, I'll get back to you very shortly, Bismarck, for thank you for your insight as well. We are still being joined by Enyonam, who is the farmer and agribusiness analyst. Enyonam Manya, it's good to have you here on the news desk. I want to understand, this is not the first time we've experienced this. Maize, tomatoes, onions, all of them have been the key struggle. Why is it that we've not been, over the years, had in place storage facilities to ensure these are kept for a long while and even supplied to the rightful market?
So good morning to you, and good morning to all your viewers. Good morning to Bismarck on the line. When it's come to issues with low patronage or issues with farmers struggling to find buyers, it's not a unique situation to Ghana. It's an African challenge. It is a challenge for smallholder farmers that find themselves across Africa. But let's focus on lack of access to market information. You see, in the farming ecosystem or in the season of farming, we have times and season for trends of commodities that are in excess and commodities that are in demand. Now, when our farmers are going into production, one would ask, do they take into consideration these factors that, okay, at this time when I'm going to produce maize or tomatoes, onions, or eggplants, is that what is in demand presently? And what are the prices looking like? Is it what is in trend, or is it what a lot of people are buying? In the absence of farmers having access to this information, at the end of the day, this is how we are going to be discussing this same problem year after year. And it is really, really about time that something is done about it. I realized you asked a question in the area of infrastructure. How can we put up infrastructure in certain regions where they are known for producing huge volumes of a certain commodity? I think it's about time we take a critical look at this. We have to begin to add value to some of the raw materials that we produce. I remember quite some weeks ago, I was from Sogakope. Watermelon was in season, and on the stretch of Adan East District, you see a lot of melons lined up around the streets, and they are being sold at 15 Ghana cedi, 20 Ghana cedi, as low as 10 Ghana cedi. But the question one would ask is, would that farmer be able to recoup what he even used to produce the crop, not to talk about profits? So I think that Ghana, we've come a long way when it's about agriculture and agribusiness. We are only doing the food production and we are neglecting the business side of the production.
Now, speaking about neglect, and you know, I want to get from you, is it the case that we have always sidelined there's demarcation between policy in the books as against the real farming on the ground, and we fail to synchronize the whole structure on how to implement it? Because it appears the farmer is far stretched. You made mention of lack of market information. We've invested so much in agribusiness projects. We've known about farming for planting for food and jobs, phase 1, phase 2. All these challenges still persist.
I agree with you that there is a little problem or challenge in terms of policy making or implementation. I've always had issues with when stakeholder engagements are done and they always consult commercial farmers. Bismarck, on the other hand, and his team deal with peasant farmers, the 2-acre farmer, the 1-acre farmer. The question is when policy are being, drafted to be implemented, how many of these smallholder farmers are consulted to pick up their thoughts, to pick up what is the challenge and how can they be factored in these policies? So at the end of the day, if we end up or if the ministry or stakeholders from government perspective would always engage commercial farmers, what they need to do their work. It's not what a smallholder farmer needs. A commercial farmer has an off-taker abroad, overseas, and he's always shipping or exporting containers, 20-footer, 40-footer container. How about the farmer who has just 1 acre? How about the farmer who has 2 acres? And we all agree that most of our farmers are semi-literate, or some of them cannot even use digital media. That is the platform that now a lot of us young farmers are leveraging to do marketing. And so because farmers have that challenge, it is very, very important that when government are about to make any policy or implement any policy, the smallholder farmer will be engaged. We heard some time ago about warehousing that is being put up or constructed in certain regions. What have become of these warehousing? Are they being in use? Have they been abandoned? Can something be done about these warehousing so that farmers can keep their, harvested produce well kept under the correct temperature, and when it's time for selling, they can release them to sell? I think that we have to stop the talk shop and take more of action now, because it is very expensive to go into farming in this day and age in Ghana. Okay, so if farmers would have to go through the hustle, the pain, wait for these rains to come, plow the land, buy the necessary inputs, and produce, and at the end of the day, they'll be struggling for markets, then I think we are doing ourselves a lot of great disservice. There are a lot of things that we...
Yes. I want to get from you, now that the farmers are threatening in Ejura, are threatening to abandon farming, what will happen to my Kose, what will happen to my Kenke, my Chozafi, that possibly this afternoon I'll be going to enjoy for lunch, and also possibly now that these key maize, which is quite prominent in every dish in our homes, what will happen to them in the next 6 months, if possible?
That simply tells you that those who are going to still be in production will sell at higher prices. And the question is, will the ordinary Ghanaian be able to afford if the prices of these produce shoot up and it becomes very expensive for them to buy? Then we are looking at malnutrition for the poor man or the poor woman who might not be able to afford 3 square meal. So I think that government must be up and doing enough of the production. Every time we are encouraging people, produce, and we neglect the market that needs to be available for us to sell. We have to look in the area of creating a lot more markets, helping our farmers find more off-takers, so that this issue of I'm not getting buyers, I'm experiencing post-harvest loss will become a thing of the past.
Okay. Thank you very much. And your name, Manye. She is a farmer and agribusiness analyst. Thank you for your insight. We're also joined by Bismarck Norty, Executive Director for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, who shared their insights on this very developing story in Ejura, where farmers are abandoning their farms and threatening to not go into serious cultivation because they are having their food product like maize rotten because of lack of access to critical markets. Now, in another development, students of the Tamale Technical University are also protesting in challenges in the school, including lack of adequate infrastructure. Martina Bugri joins us with updates. Martina, it's good to have you here on the news desk. Now, what can you report? Can you unmute, please?
If you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear. What can you report? What is the
They are
state?
protesting against the management of the school. And what they are saying is that the management keeps extorting monies and they do not see development in the school. Currently, they have brought out a new list, we are told. They are being asked to pay development fees, sanitation fee, exams fee, among other fees. But the students are saying that they keep paying these fees each year, but they do not see any meaningful development on campus. Their washrooms are very filthy. The campus itself, no new structure, they say, erosion all over, no meaningful, decent development they have seen over the years. And so they are asking that their principal be moved from the school and they get a new principal who they say would be able to manage things in the school. This morning, the protest went to East Heights, where they blocked the entrance of the school, stopping vehicles from coming in or going out. They were asked to retreat. They came back to the administration block, and then a police team arrived. The police started spraying hot water on them. They sprayed hot water for a while. That didn't work. And then they started firing, warning shots. One student was hit by rubber bullets several times on the foot, and he's currently at the clinic in the school campus receiving treatment. This morning, lectures have come to a halt. They say that until their grievances are addressed, they will not go back to the lecture hall. We have some of the executives of the school here, and they'll be speaking to us. You have been going on a demonstration this morning.
Yes.
What are the critical things that you say the school is not addressing?
Basically, what we are looking up to is that the school is in deplorable state. Anyone who is familiar with the university, ever since these structures have been in existence for far too long, there has not been an upgradement to the facilities. Washrooms are terrible, and all what we are asking is that you are proposing a fee increment, and we are asking management, what have you done with the fees that you have collected over the past years? Is that okay? The school is endowed with erosions. I get it. Washrooms, even washrooms that are meant for lecturers cannot be used. The hostels, we just took your sister stations to the hostels. The fields there is too much. I get it. All what we are asking management is to do to ensure that the money that are collected are used judiciously. And we are also calling on the Ministry of Education to come out with to set up a committee to conduct a forensic audit of the IGF of the university. Because we don't see any development. Anybody who has been here, I get it, would attest to the fact that there has never been a tremendous development. Erosions will take you around for you guys to see the erosions that are being engulfed the university.
Now, but you could have done this staying in the classroom whilst your leadership negotiates with the management. Why are you on the streets?
You see, when you see students on the street, it means that they have tried to engage management and it doesn't yield results. I get it. That is why we have ended on the streets. I get it. Before we got to this point, we engaged the management. As I speak, I am part of the leadership. I am the grassroots PR. I get it. So I am part of it, and I'm abreast with whatever engagement that we have had with them.
Now, you said you were on a peaceful demonstration.
Exactly.
They called in the police.
Yes.
Was that peaceful?
If you ask me, we started demonstration with the police. I get it. They walked to the roundabout and we came back to campus. When we got back to campus, some of our constituents said ties are blazed, and we're trying to off it. And all of a sudden, water cannon vehicle was driven into the compound. And all of a sudden, started unleashing the hot water on students, and the students also started reacting. We had to intervene to tell the police to move their water cannon vehicle out of the vicinity, and then we were able to manage our students. And that was what actually happened.
Now, what's the way forward?
The way forward is to ensure that sanitation must improve. We are not going to bow down on that. We are not going to relent on that. There must be an improvement. We want tattoo students to feel like any other student in any of the public universities. We all pay the same fees. What happened is that when you are going to compare ourselves to them, when it comes to the tuition, we are okay. But when it comes to the infrastructure, we are lacking behind. If you go to the HND block, any of the classrooms that are you see being faced with gluttony and what have you are being done by the various departments. What is the school doing? I get it. And that is what we want this notion to be corrected. We are just basically trying to tell the management that they have been sleeping for far too long, and the time has come for them to wake up from their deep slumbers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you've been hearing the Grassa PRO is allowing some of the things they want the management of the school address. And they say they are not going to bow down until they have these address.
Bugri, who is reporting for us at the Tamale Technical University in regards to protests by students. They're demanding for an upgrade on their infrastructure, especially their washrooms and key facilities on their campuses. Still staying on protest, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and allied forces have hit the street of Accra to protest the alleged takeover of land designated for lorry stations by private investors. Let's speak to my colleague Stephen Mensah, who is covering this for us. Now, Stephen, how is the turnout for the protest this morning, and also what is the mood there?
Winston, if you can hear me, the protest is quite large. There are a large number, a lot of people over here, mostly traders and drivers from the central business district, particularly from CMB. I've also noticed some of the traders and the drivers from close to different parts of Accra. They've all converged here for one reason. They say they are being forcibly evicted from their trading spots. That's the CMB district. I've been speaking to some of them who say that they have little to no chance of survival if they are evicted from where they are currently.
Now, Stephen, go ahead.
Wait, can you
hear me? I can hear you.
Okay. So some of them also indicate that the person involved is Dr. Dasebre Asumadu Nyakwapia, and they say he has already bought some plots of land at the CMB district, and he's currently also trying to forcibly take them away from the parts where he has not bought. They also indicate that some of the parts where they have bought, they are not able to purchase the stores he has already provided for. Hence, they will not agree to he taking or forcibly evicting them from where they are currently. They are currently at the Jubilee House, currently waiting for government officials to present a petition, specifically to the president of the country, President John Dramani Mahama.
Great. Great. Thank you, Stephen. We'll be following up subsequently in our bulletin on this developing story. Now, officials from the Ghana Red Cross Society have kicked against a directive by Interior Minister Mohamed Mubarak Muntaka through the District Chief Executive for Sawla Tuna Kalba, David Titina, to compel displaced people in the Sawla camp to return to their communities. The officials say the move to get the victims of the Gweniri conflict out as against pockets of disturbances in Kalba, among others, go against safety ethics and should not be encouraged. Let's get more from our correspondent, Isaac Noja, who is joining us right now on Zoom. Isaac, what can you report, basically?
Well, the situation in the camp has intensified through the lack of feeding for these people yesterday, lunch, supper, and this morning. The society, the Red Cross official said that as of yesterday, lunch, the people didn't get food, dinner, they didn't get food, and this morning, there was no breakfast. There seemed to be a confusion between the DC of the area and the NATMO official, in the sense that each of them is pointing hands on the other one to provide minimum for these displaced people. And the Red Cross and the social welfare people who are not happy also think that no matter the case, the two bodies should come together and continue to provide for the displaced people who are under their care. But for now, I will speak. They are not taking anything this morning. And they're so going to provide lunch for them or supper within the day.
Have you heard of any development from the authorities who are in charge of supplying food to those at the camp?
Hello?
Yeah, have you heard anything from those in charge, especially those who are supposed to ensure consistent supply of food to those in the camp?
Officially, it's the DASEC, whatever the DC, who is in charge of the upkeep, and being aided by none of the NATMO official. But for Red Cross who are there, they say that they are taking directives from the DCE and then the NADMO. And these are also the people who are saying that one should provide, another one says the other should provide. But for them, as caretakers, they are only waiting to see what the DASA will do. But for now, both authorities are saying that there's no food for them, for the displaced people. And as are there, they are also looking to see what they can do for them, but they are not able for now. And they are appealing to people who, philanthropists around and outside the region, who can support food attempts, who can support the food attempt to continue to feed the displaced people who are still in the camp.
All right, thank you very much. Isaac Nojawi is reporting for us from the Savannah region and giving us updates on what is happening to displaced residents in the Gbenyinri conflict. Now we'll take a short break. When we come back, we have business for you.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Food and Beverage Association is warning that the proposed increase in utility tariffs could lead to the collapse of more businesses. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is currently working to increase tariffs from the beginning of next month. Now, several companies have proposed more than 100% hike in tariffs, but the association says high tax levels and the recent depreciation of the cedi could worsen their woes. John Awuni is chairman of the association.
The Beverage Association of Ghana strongly oppose the proposed increase in utility tariffs, particularly electricity. We are against it strongly because we think that the timing is very wrong. Sales currently in the business sector has dropped by 70%. We are facing serious depreciation of the currency. Sales generally is at its lowest ebb, and we think that if these tariffs are increased, it will affect the food and beverage sector hard. Electricity is the lifeblood of the food and beverage sector, whether it is packaging of water, it is farming, food production, and name it. Generally, electricity is the blood. And so if we go ahead to increase these tariffs, the economy will be so hard hit. It will be hit so hard that the economy cannot contain it, because it's going to lead to wild inflationary pressure in the country. There will be massive price hikes than we can imagine, and this will exacerbate the current low turnover in the market.
Now, from routine checkups and cosmetic dentistry to advanced orthodontics and surgical procedures, Bethel Dental Clinic is transforming the way oral health is delivered in Ghana, combining cutting-edge technology with a personal touch to give patients brighter smiles and healthier lives. Here's more.
At the heart of Bethel Dental Clinic is a dedicated team and cutting-edge facilities. Here, expertise meets innovation, delivering solutions that match world-class standards while staying true to Ghanaian values.
Welcome to Bethel Dental Clinic. My name is Dominic Ansasifua. I'm in charge of business development at Bethel. At Bethel Dental Clinic, we have all the services under one roof. We do braces, we do Invisalign, we do teeth whitening, we do cleaning, we do root canal treatment. We do all forms of dental care services that you would require. So we are located at number 13 Ochu Street, North Jowulu, quite close to Fiesta Royal Hotel on the Jowulu-Gempa Strait. We also have branches in Kumasi, at Asukwa, inside the Ark Luxury Residences. And then we have a third branch which will be opening soon in Tema.
The company combines world-class technology, eco-conscious practices, cultural identity, and patient-first service to their operations.
What we have here is a dental microscope. Okay, so the dental microscope has ushered us into an era of precision, comfort, and enhanced healthcare. So with the help of the microscope, it enhances the magnification and it helps us to improve the actual quality of the oral healthcare. The best part of the microscope is that it enhances the magnification to such a level that the things which we cannot see with a naked eye or even with a loops that we are able to see with the microscopes. It helps us to see if there is any decay, okay, if there are any micro cracks, okay, when we are doing root canal, it helps us to find if there are any accessory or missing canals, okay. So with the help of the microscope, the dentist and the patient, they both gain from it to achieve a enhanced oral health care.
Bethel Dental Clinic says it's committed to green and environmental sustainability practices, generating close to 40% of their energy from solar, conserving energy through insulated walls, and eliminating thousands of plastic bottles with refillable dispensers.
All right, that's it for this segment. More news on our website, myjournline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Back to you, Winston.
It's good to see you, Darryl.
Good to see you.
So I came across a quote that says that Galamsey is like Satan or evil spirit. It must be exorcised out of our communities.
We have plenty of work to do.
Very necessary. Thank you so much, Darryl, for joining us here. And that is all for today's edition of Joy News Next. My name is Winston Packy. Enjoy the rest of our program. So even for more business updates or for more news, visit myjoyonline.com. Have a good business day. Bye-bye.